I picked up Collection's new concealer, so let's see how it works. Collection's new concealer is the Ultra Cover Concealer, and I had to see how ultra covering it is. So their OG concealer I also bought is the Lasting Perfection Concealer. I used to use this all throughout high school. It was like one of my favourites, and it's still an OG. So I'm going to compare that to the new one. So I did pick up one shade in the Lasting Perfection. This is 2 Porcelain. I did want the lighter one, but they didn't have it in stock, so I've gone for this one instead. I think it's more of a yellowy light tone. In the new concealer I picked up 2, so I picked up the 1C, which is the one I wanted, which is more pinky, but I did also get the 2C, which is Porcelain Cool, and I think actually this one is going to match the OG Lasting Perfection concealer a lot better. So what I'm going to do is try the original on one side of my eye and the new one on the other side, and we'll compare. So starting with the original one, this one is only £4.49, so really, really cheap, and I feel like it lasts ages. So it's got this nice little doe foot applicator, which is almost on a slant, which is really, really nice. And obviously I have used this before and I do really, really like it. I think it's got really good coverage and it's really, really creamy as well. So I know this is a great concealer. So I'm going to start off by just popping this under my eye. And again, this is shade 2 Porcelain, so very, very brightening. I'm going to do the same amount on each. So I'm starting off with that on my left side. And I'm going to blend it in with my trusty Zoeva brush. So that is the first side done. That's the Collection Lasting Perfection all applied. You can see it's given so much coverage. It's blended out really, really smoothly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it in place with my usual Morphe powder, and then we'll try the new one on the right hand side. So just popping the powder underneath my eye just to get that all set down and prevent any creasing. That's the first eye done. With it all set down, you can see it is so brightening and blurred. Really, really nice. Let's try the new one. So here is the new one. I have got the Ultra Cover Concealer. This one is an XL applicator and said it lasts for up to 16 hours. I have got a shade as closest to the original one. So this one again is number 2 Porcelain. I think they're pretty much the same. And then in terms of packaging, I think the new one is slightly bigger, as you can see here. But I mean, even the old one, it used to be in the smallest little tube with a black lid. I remember it being in that tube. So this one has got slightly bigger anyway. But this new one is definitely a lot bigger and quite a bit heavier as well. And then this one on Collection's website was £4.99. So only 50p more than the original one. So let's try this one out. Let's see what the applicator looks like. So it's quite a lot bigger than the original one. You can see that there. If I compare this to the original, you can see the size difference there. So it is a much, much bigger applicator. I do think I kind of prefer the old one, just because I feel like you can get around your nose a little bit more. I just prefer a smaller applicator. So I'm going to do the exact same again. I'm going to put a little bit of concealer under my eyes, exactly where I put it on the other side. Pop a little bit there and there. It actually feels a lot lighter weight than the original one. It feels more serum-y. It does say though that it has hydrating ingredients and it is meant to give a crease-proof coverage. So maybe the hydrating ingredients make it a little bit smoother. So I've popped that there on the other side of my eye. I think the colour-wise it's going to be absolutely fine. It doesn't look that much different at all. So I'm going back in with my trusty Zoeva brush and I'm going to blend this in. So that is now all blended in. I definitely feel like you don't need as much product. A little went definitely a much longer way on this side. I felt like I just kept blending down and down. Like you don't need much product at all. So you could probably use half of what you use on the original concealer. So again, I'm going to set that in place and then we're going to have a look and compare. So that is them now both applied here. I definitely feel like looking, there's a lot more of a smoother, less textured side on the new one compared to the old one, but I do think that is because the old formula is quite a bit thicker, whereas the new formula is more of like a serum feeling. In terms of coverage, I feel like they're given about the same amount of coverage, so they do look pretty much the same in terms of colour and coverage. It's just there's a lot more of a smoothed, blurred look on the new side compared to the original side. So what I'm going to do now to give it a fair test is I'm going to leave it on all day. So I'm going to check in at random moments just to see how it's looking. So it's the start of the day now. I'm going to wear it all throughout the day, come back at the end and give my final thoughts. So it's about 5 hours in now to wearing the concealer and I can see a little bit of a difference. So obviously this is the original side, this is the new concealer side. I do feel like the new side has stayed a little bit brighter and more in place than the original side has. I feel like it's darkened slightly. I don't know if it's just slightly faded, but I feel like this side definitely looks a lot brighter still. So it's definitely living up to the 16-hour hold that it says it does. In terms of movement, it's not really moved at all. It's not creasing in any places, but both of them do sort of look like that. So I would say they both have good hold in terms of not looking cakey or creasy. However, I would just say that this one looks like it's staying on the face a little bit more than the original one, which was slightly faded and slightly darkened. I don't know if that's because it's faded though. So I'm going to come back at the end of the day and give you my final results of how I think they both look. So it's now the end of the day. I've had my concealer literally on for the entire day, so I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Looking at it now, my concealer is still there. I will say that on the original side it's slightly worn away. I feel like there's a little bit more shadow, whereas on the new side it's literally still under my eyes, like it's still there. You can still see it. It's still very, very brightening. So I believe it does live up to the 16-hour wear claim, because it is basically still there. One thing I will say is that it's ever so slightly more dry than it was first thing this morning, so if you do have dry skin or drier under eyes, that's something just to be wary of. I feel like by using hydrating like under eye cream or hydrating face cream, this will be absolutely fine. But all in all, it's a really, really great concealer. It's lasted like literally all day. It's still there, and it's definitely an upgrade from the original version, so I'm definitely going to keep using this. Saying that, I still really, really love the old version. I still will use this, and I just think they're both like a really, really great product for a really great price. These are my final thoughts on the Collection Ultra Cover Concealer. I really, really love it. I'm going to continue to use it, and I highly recommend it, especially for the price. It's really, really good. I've bought higher end concealers that aren't as good as this. So for under £5, it's literally amazing. But let me know what you think. Do you think it still looks good? Is it something that you would use? And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.